On Asia Down Under today, we look at the life of Hugh McLeod, the Kiwi historian who dedicated his life to the study of Sikhism. Hello and welcome to the special edition of Asia Down Under. Just over a year ago, we brought you the story of Dunedin-based historian Hugh McLeod, who spent his entire lifetime studying and researching Sikhism of India. His work was recognised all over the world, but until last year, very few in New Zealand had heard of his pioneering work. Sadly, 1 month after the documentary went to air, Hugh passed away at the age of 76. So today, on the anniversary of his passing, we bring you the story of this remarkable historian once again.
Hugh McLeod is a Dunedin academic unaccustomed to being in the limelight. But in one particular field, his work has made him an international superstar.
It's important that we are aware of New Zealanders who have a global, international reputation and have had amazing lives.
In the late 1950s, Hugh discovered a lifelong passion for understanding the Sikhs of India. His pioneering study of their history and religion caused major controversy, but established him as a world-renowned historian. Later, his groundbreaking research into Punjabi immigrants in New Zealand preserved their little-known history for generations to come.
He's one of the foremost historians on the Sikh history and religion.
He's the one person that links us to our past.
It is fair to say that he has had a deep and lasting impact on Sikh academia, which is still being responded to and is still there to this day.
As the son of a sheep farmer from Fielding, his was an unlikely path, but one that created a substantial legacy for Punjabis in New Zealand and students of Sikhism around the world, some 4 decades after he first began.
It was either you take the Hindus in the Punjab, at that stage was one possibility. The other was the Sikhs. And I thought, yes, these Sikhs, very interesting. And yes, definitely. And so I began working on the Sikhs of India.
In 1958, 25-year-old Hugh McLeod, his wife and 1-year-old child left Dunedin in southern New Zealand, bound for a missionary college in rural Punjab in the north of India.
I had a week's asthma, and then I settled down to the idea. It was unexpected, yeah.
Hugh and Margaret met at Otago University's student Christian movement while Hugh was studying first history, then theology. As far as he knew, his future lay with the church.
I was going to have to go into a parish, and I was getting rather concerned by this. I was not going to be a good parish minister at all, and neither was Margaret going to be particularly good at parish minister's wife.
I was teaching at that stage, and I had assumed I would be singing in the parish choir in some small town in New Zealand, but this was quite different.
It just so happened that an opportunity arose in that year when the church was looking for someone to replace Dr. Morton Ryburn. And so I said, that's it, we'll go to India. Partly because, it's part of our OE, it was quite exciting, and partly because it was to escape what awaited me if I stayed here. My impression, because I was working at that stage within the confines of a church and a community of Christians, all of whom, of course, spoke English, I suppose I really was just simply transferring my experience here in New Zealand to that in India. I found that I was not really equipped to teach English, and so I looked around for other possible means of employing what I had been trained to do, which was as a historian.
Living in the heart of the Punjab, near Amritsar and the Golden Temple, the spiritual home of the Sikh people, it was only natural to turn his attention to them. First immersing himself in their language, then study of their religion. Eager to understand the life and teachings of the 10 human gurus, founding fathers of the Sikh religion, he started with the first and some would say most influential guru, Guru Nanak. Unimpressed by existing academic studies of Sikhism, he decided to pursue this line himself and went in search of the Janam Sakhis, early recorded eyewitness accounts of the life of Guru Nanak.
These came to light in the 18th century. All parts of India, all parts overseas, some getting as far as Rome. As time passes, these stories all accumulate around the life of Guru Nanak.
2 of the Janam Sakhis were among the manuscripts taken to England by the British colonial government. So, in 1963, Hugh went to London in search of those documents to study as part of a PhD. During those 2 years on leave, Margaret, with 3 boys to look after, was pursuing an interest of her own.
I'd always wanted a little girl, and I thought I don't want to be pregnant at this stage when he's very busy. And we'd heard of friends in Dunedin here, David and Reva Calvert, who'd adopted a Hong Kong orphan. And that sounded exciting. So we thought we'd adopt a mixed-race child. And
A mixed-race girl.
a girl. We wanted a
Yes.
girl. I'd seen little dresses in India for little girls, and I'd always wanted a little girl. So that was that. They gave us this little baby with a plastic bag with a few little dresses in it, and we went home on the underground. And she didn't cry all the way, just looked around. Pretty good.
5-month-old Rita, or Ruth as she became, had been put up for adoption by her Punjabi Sikh mother and Irish father. With missionary credentials and 3 sons already, the McLeods successfully convinced English authorities to allow the adoption, but it wasn't all smooth sailing.
We had to go through a series of interviews, and when we actually arrived on the day, I think, Hugh had had a stomach upset the night before, and Mrs. Buttle on the committee, who was fairly formidable, said, "This shows he is psychologically not happy about this adoption." I said, "Not really." So we had a moment where we thought we mightn't get her.
But they did, and the match was a good one.